RTF Paranormal Crew here. My name is Haley if you haven't joined into our channel before, and welcome to another episode of Witching Hour Wednesdays. I am not joined by a co-host or a guest member today, so it's just me again for this video. And the story that I'm going to be talking about today for my ghost story is one of my childhood. It's a ghost that we lived with in my childhood home that I grew up in. We first noticed him, I think my mom was the first one who had noticed him. She was walking down the hallway, and it was like going down the hallway to this side. There was the little closet that opened with the washer and dryer in it, and then at the very end of the hallway there was just a wall and then a bedroom on either side. And so she was walking down getting ready to do the laundry, and she saw what looked like, she describes it as sitting like this, like a black figure down at the end of the hallway. And then as she stared at it, it stood up, and she said by height she guessed it to be around 11 or 12 years old. And he ran into my bedroom at the time, and that was like our first run-in with him. And then he started to appear very frequently after that. It was, none of us were really afraid of him. It was kind of just like having another sibling in the house, quite honestly. He, at first my mom named him George because we didn't know what to call him, and we eventually found out shortly after that his name was Lucas. My aunt actually is the one who discovered that. My aunt was sleeping in bed one night, and she said that the covers kept getting pulled off of her feet, and she told him to stop a couple times, put it back, and like after like the fourth time she did it, she just screamed, "Lucas, stop it!" And she said that it took her back for a second because she was like, I have no idea where that came from. And he stopped the second afterwards, almost as if he was like just as shocked that she was, that she said his name. And we tried to imagine how a 12-year-old boy would have died in the house, and there was a pool in the backyard, unfenced, and so we assumed that he must have drowned in the pool at some point. And our TV channels, if you were watching TV, would always get changed to channel 78, which for some reason was nothing but static. Like you'd be watching a show and it would just switch. When I was about 5 years old at the time, and I'd be like watching cartoons like SpongeBob or something that little kids watch, and the sliding glass door to this side with like the pleated blinds that hang down, and it would change, and then you could hear like giggling in the background, like he was just so proud of himself that he annoyed the shit out of you again. And then he would run by the window and like the blinds would move, like he like ran by with his hand in the blinds giggling, like he was just so funny, a regular comic over here. And I remember one time I yelled at him, "Stop changing my channels," and my channel it changed back to what I was watching, because 5-year-olds take their SpongeBob quite seriously, and so I was not having it after that. And my parents used to like fight sometimes, and so when they would fight, the kitchen cabinets, and I witnessed this one time because I had snuck out of bed and I was watching around the corner while they were yelling, and the kitchen cabinets would slam open and shut like furiously until they stopped, and then they would just shut. Like, he did not like fighting, so I assume that his parents probably used to fight too, and he was not a fan of it. But just like we had guessed that he drowned in the pool, guessed that he was about 12 years old, and then the TV channels being changed to 78, all that stuff kind of coincided once we did research on the house, and we found out that a 12-year-old little boy drowned in our pool. Sure enough, his name was Lucas, and this happened in year 1978. Makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? He was, again, like, never really scared of him. It was just, he was normal to have him there. He didn't have, like, a bad feeling, like, to where we should be afraid of him or, like, angry. He was just happy to have a family again, it seemed. And that's, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, I was glad that we were able to provide that for him. At one occasion, we drove back by that house when I was about 15 years old. Just, we were in the neighborhood and we were like, hey, let's drive by the old house. And as we were driving away down the street, I looked back at the house, And the house was vacant at the time. No one lived there. It had a for sale sign in the yard. And I swear to you, I could see a little boy sitting in the window like this. And it made me cry. It made me cry for like most of the rest of that night, because it was heartbreaking to know that he's still stuck there. That for whatever reason, he can't move on, and that he can't leave, and he's all alone. And after all this time, he's still there, and he's probably still there. And it's heartbreaking, but I hope that whatever family lives in the house, since we have, or at this time now, is as open to him as we are. Most people will be scared, obviously, and try to do something to expel the spirit from the location, but we fully respected the fact that that was his house, and he was there first, and he's just a little boy. So yeah, like he would mess with us all the time, but it's just crazy thinking that like the TV channels would get changed to channel 78 and be nothing but static, and we would always wonder why, and then come to find out he died in 1978. But yeah, he was a part of our lives frequently, like always. You would see him everywhere. There was at one point I was like hiding in a closet in the house. I don't know if I can't remember, because like I said, I was very young at this time, so I don't remember if I was playing like hide and seek with my brother, or just like hiding from my brother, for that matter. Evil. That's all I will say. Evil. My older brother. But I was hiding in the closet, like sitting there, and the only time he actually freaked me out was because I looked over into the dark, and he was the same way as me, sitting in the closet with me. And I'm guessing that was like his hiding spot too. Or he was just in there trying to like comfort me or something, or like hide with me. But it was just creepy being in such close proximity to him and being in like a closed in dark space. And I look over and there's just Lucas sitting next to me in this thing. But that was the only time he ever like creeped me out. But I didn't run from him, because we were never afraid of him. It was very normal to have him around. But yeah, so that is my story of my childhood ghost, and I hope more than anything that something has helped him move on now that we've been gone for so long. If he's still stuck there, that's really, really depressing. But so my best wishes go out to you, Lucas, and I pray that you find whatever peace and solace that you need in this world, so that you can help yourself move on to a better one. And we still love you. I wish I could have brought you with me to the next house. But yeah, so that's my story for this week, and I will be back next week with another video. Hopefully I'll have a guest member with me, but I will go ahead and say goodbye for now.